drag and drop here a switch. I will take another switch here. So in this particular lecture, what I will be doing, I will create two separate setup having 4 computers in each setup, and later part I will connect both the switch, and we will observe between two switches of separate VLAN how data packet will communicate. So that will be observed in this particular video. Let us take some computers. So I have taken 4 computers connected to this particular switch, or okay, and another 4 computers for the particular switch here. So I have taken 4 computers. So 4 computers. Let us connect the switches with the computers. For that I need a cable. So I will take a cable that is straight copper wire. So I will use straight copper wire, because we know this particular cable that is straight copper wire will get used to connect two different kind of devices. As we know, switch and computers are under the category of separate devices. So to connect different kind of devices, we will use straight copper cable. So one end of the cable, as usual, I will connect to this particular port. So there are 25 ports are available in the switch. I will connect the cable, the first end of the cable, with this port, that is first Ethernet 01. Remember the port that I have used to connect the cable, because that we need to remember while we are going to configure this particular switch. Which port I have connected to which computers, that is one of the most essential thing to remember. So I have connected this particular computer, that is fast Ethernet, that is PC0. I have connected the PC0 with the fast Ethernet port of the cable. So you can see the fast Ethernet 01, the link is up, and this particular port falls under VLAN 1. Okay, so let us connect 4 computers. Fast Ethernet 02, this particular port I am going to connect with PC1. This is the LAN port of this particular computer. Each computer consisting of a single LAN port. So all computers have a LAN port by default, but later if you wish you can connect some more LAN ports, but by default each computer are having a single LAN port. So this is the LAN port. I have connected one end of the straight cable, another end I will connect here with this particular port, that is fast Ethernet 03. I will repeat the process here. First, this is the LAN port fast Ethernet, and I will connect other end with the switch, that is fast Ethernet 04. So I have connected 4 computers with the switch. You can see 2 port color is converted to green, and rest of the port is still orange. We know that the MAC addresses of these 4 computers will get registered in the MAC table of the switch for the corresponding port where the connection has been established. So for this port, against this particular 4 ports I have connected this computer. So this particular MAC addresses, or you can say physical addresses, will get registered in the MAC table of the switch against the corresponding port where this is connected with. So we have already connected 4 computers with the switch. Let us again repeat the process for this particular setup at your right. So we have 2 setup, one at left and another at right. Let us do this. So I will connect, I will use the first Ethernet 01 to connect PC4, fast Ethernet 02 to connect PC5, fast Ethernet 03 to connect PC6, and fast Ethernet 04 to connect PC 7. So I have connected all 4 systems with this switch. So now I will provide the IP addresses. So let us provide some IP addresses. So let me start with the PC0. So I am going to provide a class C category IP address. So we know that the range of class C category IP address lies between 192 to 223. So any value between 192 to 223, that is 192 and 223, any value between those two numbers, that is 192 and 223, that particular IP will fall under class A category. So the first, we know this 32-bit IP address is separated between host part and network, and in class C category IP address, the network hold the address size of 24-bit. So a 32-bit IP address is separated by 4 fields. So first field, the value of the first field decide this particular IP address falls under which category. So I will provide 200.10.10.1. so you can observe that as this is class C category IP address, this first 3 field belongs to the network space. So the size of the network space is 24 bits and the size of the host is just 8 bits. So by this IP address we can tell the address of the network is 200.10.10 and the address of the host part is just 1, and this is 32-bit IP address. The default subnet mask of this particular IP address is 255.255.255 and 0. So as the value of the first place, that is 200, lies between 192 and 223, this particular IP address can be said that this IP address falls under the category of class C network. So this is a class C network where this 3 field belongs to the networking address and this field belongs to the host address. So let me provide the IP addresses for rest of the computers, but one thing I will keep in mind, that the network addresses must be same. So the network addresses for all computers that I will going to connect over here should be 200.10.10. so you can watch out the network address that I have given for this particular computer, that is PC1, is same as PC0, 200.10.10, but the host will be different. The address of the host I have assigned 2, because each address must be separated from one and another. So all the computers belonging to a same network, I will provide same network address, but I will change the host address for each computers. So 4 computers connected to this switch and another 4 computers are connected to this particular switch. Let me start with, so network address that I have provided to this particular computer is 101. So you can see the network address is same, 200.10.10, but the host address is 101. That doesn't matter. So host address is 101. Okay. The network address is same, but the host address is 102. So all computers are connected in a same network. So 103. Okay. 104. So 4 computers are connected to this particular switch. So 2 separate networks. So let me check whether the connection is live. We can see that we can send packet in this particular network among all computers. Let me do the same over here. So I will send a packet from PC4 to PC7. You can see the status successful. Let me send another packet from PC6 to PC5. You can watch out, successful status. So connection has been established for these 8 computers. So now I will try to send a packet from the setup over here, that is PC3 to PC4. That will fail because we don't have connected this particular to network. So let me do that particular thing. So what I will do, I will take a cross cable. So I have taken a cross cable. So I will connect the cross cable over here. Let me use this particular port number 24. So I will connect one end of the cross cable to this port. Another end I will connect to this particular port, fast Ethernet 024. So you can watch out, I have used cross cable because to connect to same kind of device. So both the switch are under the category of same devices. So I have connected two switch. For doing so I have used cross cable, and you can watch out, the color is still orange until all the computers will get registered in each other MAC tables of those corresponding switch. The color will not convert to green. Now you can see the color slowly has converted to green because respective computers of each other switches has been successfully registered. So all the MAC addresses of computers have been registered in both the switches. So each switch holds the record of all 8 computers' MAC addresses. So now we can send a packet from PC3 to PC4 successfully. Let me check again by sending a packet from PC7 of this particular setup to PC0 of this setup. Successful. Okay, fine. So now I will create, means I am going to configure the VLAN setup. For that I will take 2 laptops. You have already observed in the part 1, to configure switch I need a skin because I will use the particular skin to access the hardware of this switch, to access the interface of this switch, the hardware interface of this particular switch. I need a monitor. So switch does not have its own monitor. So I will take a laptop or a computer, anything of those will work. So I have taken a laptop. So using this laptop I am going to access the hardware interface of the particular switch. So I will connect this laptop with this particular switch by a cable. So I will take the cable from the connection tab. Which cable should I take? So all the cables will not work, only a single cable that will be work for this particular purpose. So which cable? I will take this particular cable, that is console cable. You have to use the console cable for the configuration purpose. So I will use the console cable to connect this laptop and switch for the purpose of configuration. So I will connect one end of the console cable with the laptop. So there are 2 ports, so I will not going to connect one end of the console cable into this port because this is the LAN port. I am not going to connect this to a LAN, so I will use this particular port. So this particular port will be used to connect the console cable, that is RS232. Remember the number RS232. Another end of the cable I will connect here with the console port. So this is the console port of this particular switch. So console cable must be connected one end with the console port or port of the switch, and other end with the RS232 port of the laptop or PC, whatever you are going to use for the configuration purpose. Now from the screen of the particular laptop I am going to access the interface of the hardware switch. Let us do. So I will open the laptop and I will go to desktop menu. Now I will click on to terminal. So I have opened the terminal. Now let all the parameter as it is by default. I'm not going to change any of this parameter. So let all the parameters be same as it is written over here. I will just click the OK button. So this is the switch interface. So I'll press some enter. You can see, you can check out over here the switch. So as I have already shown in the part 1 video, so first command that I will be using, so the switch is now in disable mode. To convert the status of the switch to enable, I will use the code that is enable, E-N-A-B-L-E. So I have written E-N-A-B-L-E, enable. This command is important. Write down in your notebook. This particular command will convert the status of the switch from disable mode to enable mode. Now you can check out, previously the symbol was showing this is switch followed by a greater than symbol. Now the switch has, now the symbol of the switch has been changed. So you can check out switch followed by a hash. So now you can say the status of the switch is not disable, so it is enable. You can say it is active. So I will just check the status of the switch and all the default configuration. To check that, I will write the command show. So VLAN, you can see I have used the command that is show. So VLAN, this command will let me know all the default status of the switch. So you can see there are 24 ports. The status is active and all these ports belong to VLAN 1. So by default in all switch there will be VLAN 1 and the name is default. So let me create some more VLAN. So first, for creating VLAN I have to move from enable mode to configuration mode. So now from switching to configuration mode I will write down the command. So write the command in your notebook. The command is configure terminal. So this particular command you have to use to shift the mode from just enable mode and moving towards the configuration mode. You have to use this particular command configure terminal and press enter. Now you can check the symbol has been changed, switch in bracket config followed by hash. So if you can see this particular symbol, that is confirmed that now the status of the switch is you are in configuration mode. So here you can do any configuration in this particular switch. So what configuration I will be doing over here, I will create some VLAN. So for creating VLAN I have to enter in configuration mode. So now I already have entered in the configuration mode. Now in this particular mode I will be able to create some VLAN. So let me create some VLAN. For creating VLAN, the command that will be used is VLAN, VLAN followed by a number. So I have created the VLAN. The number of the VLAN is 100. So you can check it out, VLAN then 100. You can write 200 or 2 or 3 or 4, any number followed by the command VLAN. So that will be the value for the particular VLAN. As you can check out, the value of the default VLAN is 1. So I have created another VLAN, the value is 100. So now I will assign the name for this particular VLAN. So NAME, the name let me provide student. So to assign a particular name for the VLAN that you have created, the command that is required to use is NAME, name followed by any name that you would like to provide for that particular VLAN. So I want to create a VLAN of particular name student. So you can check out the default name of this particular switch was default. So I have created another VLAN 100 and the name for that VLAN is student. To do that you have to use the command name followed by any name that you want to provide for that particular created VLAN. Okay, fine. Okay, so now I will move out from this particular VLAN which I have just now created. You can see after I have created the VLAN I have moved on to that particular VLAN. See, switch config VLAN. So now I have to get out of this particular VLAN which I have just created. So for that I will use the command exit. So now you can see again from this particular symbol, the symbol has been changed. So now I am in configuration mode. So I have used the exit. So after creating the VLAN, I have entered the VLAN, and after creating the name I just used the exit. That is I used this particular command to get out the VLAN. So I got out from the VLAN, and now I am in configuration mode. So this is the status of configuration mode. This particular symbol of the terminal, that is switch in bracket config followed by hash, this particular symbol in your terminal will let you know that you are in config mode. So now I will create another VLAN, VLAN 200. So you have created another VLAN. The value of the VLAN is 200, and you are in that particular VLAN, that is 200. You can see the symbol has been changed. So now after creating the VLAN, you have already moved to that particular VLAN. Now you will create a name. So I will create a name over here. So name, this is the command that is required to use for creating, or you can say for assigning the name of that particular VLAN. So what name I am going to assign over here? So TEACHER. So the first VLAN name I have assigned student, and the value that I have assigned was 100. And for this particular VLAN, another VLAN that I have created just now, VLAN 200, and name I have assigned teacher. So okay, fine. Now again I will move out from this particular VLAN. So to do that I will write exit. So I already have moved out. Now what I will do here, I will move out from the config mode. So to move out from the config mode I will use exit. So you can check out over here that I have moved out from the configuration mode, because by this particular symbol in your terminal you can able to understand that you are in just enable mode. So now the status of my switch is, it is just enable, active. I can't configure anything right now, but I can check the status of the switch. So I have moved out from the configuration mode and I am in just enable mode because I want to check the status. So to run the command, that is show, so VLAN, to run this particular command you have to move to enable mode. This particular command will not work in config mode. So that is why I have exited out from the config mode. I have moved to just enable mode and I have written this command. Now I will press enter to run. So you can check it out over here. See, two VLAN that I have created. So 100 name student, value 100, name student, status active, value 200, name teacher, status active. So but I have not assigned any port yet. Now I will assign some port for this particular two VLAN that I have created. For doing that, again I have to move to config mode. So I have written the code, that is configuration configure terminal. So you can check out the symbol. I have moved to configure mode. So now I will select the interface. So I will select the interface. That interface I will assign to the VLAN that I have created. So let me select the interface first. So int interface. Which interface? Let me select the fast interface. So I have selected the fast Ethernet 01. So the command I need to use to select the interface, that is interface followed by the particular interface which I do like to hold. So this particular interface is selected. So you can check the symbol has been changed. Switch followed by config dash if in bracket followed by hash. So if you see this particular symbol in your terminal, that signifies that you are in a particular interface. So now we are in this particular interface, that is fast Ethernet 01. So I have selected this particular interface. So now after selecting, I will assign this particular interface to a particular VLAN. So which VLAN? Let me choose VLAN 100. So to do that, the command that will be used, switch mode access. So I am going to switch the particular port so that another VLAN could access that. So the command that I have used, remember the command, this particular command. After this command, you already have selected, you are required to use this command. Okay, so now switch access VLAN, which VLANs? So check out, switch port access VLAN 100. So remember, after this particular command, you have to use this command, switch port access, then the VLAN which you have created. So VLAN followed by the number, so the number that you have assigned for that particular VLAN. So switch port access VLAN followed by the number which you have assigned for the particular VLAN. Okay, ignore this three line, ignore these three lines. So after this command, you are required to use this command. So press enter. So now this particular port, that was fast Ethernet 01, has been assigned for this particular VLAN. Now this particular port is no longer belonging to the default VLAN 1. We will check that later in the switch status. So let me move out from this particular interface. So now I am using this particular interface, so you can check by the symbol. I will move out from this particular interface. So exit. So I have used the exit command. Now I am in config mode, interface, fast interface 0-2. I have selected the second interface 02. I will run the same command. You can check out, switch mode access. So I have already taken that particular port into the access. Now I am going to switch the port to VLAN 100. So I will run the command, that is switch port access VLAN 100. So now what I have done, so I will move out now by exit command in config mode. You can see, so this two particular port, fast Ethernet 01 and fast Ethernet 02, is belonging to VLAN 100. So now we know that, you can see again re-registration is happening in the MAC table, as because I have assigned this particular two port, fast Ethernet 01 and fast Ethernet 02, under VLAN 100, and these two computers are connected to VLAN 100 because these two computers are connected with fast Ethernet 01 and fast Ethernet 02. Both the port I have assigned under VLAN 100. So these particular two computers are in VLAN 100. So now let us again, so now what I will select this particular interface. I'll run the command, switch mode access. Now I'll put it under the VLAN, that is 200. So we also have created this particular VLAN 200. I will write exit. I will move out. Again I will hold the interface, that is fast Ethernet 04. I will run the command, switch port mode access, followed by the command switch port access VLAN 200, and I will move out again from this particular interface. So you can check out over here. So fast Ethernet 03 and fast Ethernet 04. Both the port I have assigned under VLAN 200. So this particular two computers are connected in the port number 03 and 04. You can see re-registration happening in this MAC table for the corresponding port where I have connected this computer, because I have assigned this two particular port under separate VLAN. So now we have separated these two computers with these two computers. Both the so these four computers are in two separate VLAN. In spite of that, all the four computers belong in same network. We can't able to, so we will be not able to send packet. Let us check. So now, previously we were sending packet among four computers, but now as we have separated the VLAN, we have separated these four ports where these four computers are connected into two separate VLANs. Now we can't send packet from PC2 to PC1, see in progress and fail. So PC3 to PC0, see in progress and failed. But we can send packet from PC2 to PC3 and PC1 to PC0 because these two computers are under VLAN 200. These two computers are VLAN 100. So we can send packet in same VLAN but not in separate VLAN. So if we connect another four computers, let me connect another four computers over here to show you one thing. So I will connect the four computers with the switch in these corresponding ports. So I have been maintaining the sequence over here. So let me copy the IP address. So that all the computers are going to be in same network. I will just change the address of the host. So I just have changed the address of the host. Let me try to send a packet among these four computers. See, we can send packet among these four computers, but we can't send packet from here to here, this particular four computers to this computer, or any of the computer from here to any computer from over here. So why? Because so in this particular switch there are three VLAN. So all the four computers are connected with the default VLAN. So default VLAN was VLAN 1, that was by default, and the first four ports I have assigned to separate VLAN. These two computers are under the VLAN 1. So these two computers are under VLAN 1. These two computers are under VLAN 200. I am sorry, this is 100, and these four computers under VLAN 1. So you can see over here, so we have in this particular switch three separate VLAN. This is the default VLAN, this is the VLAN that we have created, and this is the VLAN that we have also created. So we have created two VLANs. Four computers are connected to the VLAN that we have created. Two ports are assigned under this two particular VLAN, another two ports are assigned under this two particular VLAN, and the rest of the ports are still belonging to the default VLAN. So 24 ports from fast Ethernet. We can check out over here. Let me exit from the config mode. So now I am in active mode. So So VLAN, so check under 100 VLAN, two computers are connected. So these two computers named student VLAN value 100, that is a VLAN. So another VLAN that we have created 200 teacher, fast Ethernet 03 and 04 are connected over here. So you can see the two ports 03 and 04 for the corresponding these two computers belonging to VLAN teacher 200, and the rest of the port fast Ethernet 05 to fast Ethernet 024. So 4 ports are missing from here because those 4 ports are added to these two VLAN. So this computer starting from fast Ethernet 05 to fast Ethernet 024 belong to default VLAN 1. You can check out over here. So I have connected these 4 computers to fast Ethernet 05, 6, 7 and 8. So all these computers are under VLAN 1. So that is why we were able to send packets among these 4 computers, but we were unable to send packets among 3 separate VLAN. So now both the switches are connected in a same network. So we can see that the 4 computers those who are connected to this particular switch, and other 8 computers which were connected with this particular switch. So we can say 12 computers are connected in a single network which is separated by 3 separate VLAN. So let me send packet from switch this particular computer, that is PC4 belonging to this switch, to the computer PC11 to a separate switch. So we can see that the packet has been sent successfully among these 2 switches. But if I try to send a packet from computer of this switch to this particular computer, that is PC3, you can see in progress and failed. Why? The reason is that these 4 computers belonging to this switch is under the default VLAN. So that is VLAN 1. So packet can't be sent among separate VLAN. So we can send packet within same VLAN. So we were sending packets successfully from VLAN 1 to VLAN 1. In spite of that, the computers are connected in separate switch. So computers are connected in separate switch, but those computers are belonging to the ports, and those ports of the switch are belonging to similar VLAN. That is why we were able to send packets from one computer to another computer. So now let us configure this particular switch. So for doing that, I will take a laptop from here. Okay, so now I will take the console cable from the connection tab. So this is the console cable that we will use to connect the switch and the laptop. So one end of the console cable I will connect with the console port of the switch, and other end I will connect RS232 port of the laptop. So I have connected. So now as I have done in this particular switch, the same process I will repeat over this switch. I will access the hardware interface of the particular switch from the screen of the laptop. So now I will create 2 VLAN in this switch. So let me open the laptop, and under the desktop I will access the terminal. So okay, I will keep all the parameters as default. So now I have opened the interface for this particular switch. So enable. Now I will move to the config mode. Configure terminal. So enable will followed by configure terminal, because I am moving to the config mode. So now I am in config mode. You can watch out by the symbol of the terminal, that switch in bracket config followed by slash. So I am in configure mode. Now I will create two separate VLANs. So let me create the first VLAN 100. So I have created the same VLAN that I already have created in the other switch over here. You can watch out. So now I am in that particular VLAN. You can watch out, the symbol has been changed. So I will give the name for this particular VLAN 100 by the command, that is name followed by the name. I will give the same name as I have given in this particular VLAN for the value 100. So name student. So now I will move out from this particular VLAN by the exit command. So now let me repeat the same process and create another VLAN. So VLAN 200. Now I have entered that VLAN. Watch out, the symbol has been changed. Name teacher. So I will set the name teacher for the particular VLAN 200. TEACHER, same name as I have provided for this particular VLAN. Okay, let me move out from the VLAN by the exit command. Now I am in config mode. So now I will repeat the same process, the same I have done it for the other switches. So other switch, in this particular switch, the same process. Let me check out in the source status. So let me move out the config mode. So by exit command from the config mode, I will move down to the enable mode. So now I am just in enable mode. From this particular mode, I can't do any configuration, just I can only observe the status of the switch. So VLAN, I want to watch out the status of the VLAN. So how many VLAN are there, we can watch out. See, this is the default VLAN of the particular switch. VLAN name 1, name default, the status active. 24s are belonging to this VLAN 1, and I have created two separate VLAN. You can watch out. 100 name student, status active. 200 teacher, status active. Now I will remove some port from this particular VLAN, as I have done the same thing over this setup. Same thing I will repeat over here. So I will take out some ports from default VLAN, and those ports I am going to add over this two VLAN that I have created, student and teacher. So let me do. So what I will do over here, I will select the interface. Okay, so for doing that, first I have to move to the config mode. So now I am in configuration mode. So what I will be doing over here, I am going to select interface. So which interface? Okay, let me select the interface number 11. First interface 011. So this particular interface. So this interface I will select, and I will move this interface from default VLAN to student VLAN, that is VLAN 100. So now you can watch out, the symbol has been changed. So now I am holding this particular interface, so that is why the symbol has been changed. Now I have accessed this interface. Now I'm going to switch this port into a separate VLAN. For doing that, I will run the command switch port mode access and switch port access. So now I'm shifting the access from default VLAN 1 to VLAN 100. So which VLAN 100? You can watch what I have written. This command you will be using to assign a port to a particular VLAN. By default, this particular port was belonging to the default VLAN 1. Now I have changed this particular port. I am shifting this port from the default VLAN to VLAN 100. So ignore all this. So ignore this 3 line of command. Okay. So after this line, you have to write this particular line. So ignore these 3 line. This line will be followed by this line, and that will be followed by this line. Okay. So let me press the enter button. So I have successfully switched and shifted. You can say I have successfully shifted fast Ethernet 011 to under the VLAN 100. So that is the VLAN student VLAN. So I want to shift 10 VLANs starting from number 011 to 020 to that particular VLAN. So for doing that, one thing that I will do, I will shift 5 VLAN 011 port number to 015. So 4 port of the particular switch which I have selected, I have been working with. I am going to shift 4 ports, another 4 ports. Already I have shifted 011, so I will shift another 4 ports, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Those 4 ports to the VLAN 100. So for doing that individually it will take enough time, so I will use a separate command. If we are required to shift number of ports to a particular VLAN, we also can use a separate command followed by range. So that command can also be used to shift number of port together to a particular VLAN. So let me do. So interface, let me exit from the particular VLAN. So now I have exited. You can see the symbol has been changed. Interface range. So interface range. So I am using the command range. So I will select a range of ports together, and the range of port togetherly I will shift to a particular VLAN. So I am not going to shift all those 4 ports one by one, because that will take time. So if I had to a number of ports to a particular VLAN, I can use this command range. So fast Ethernet 012. Okay. Fast Ethernet. So you can watch out over here. So I want to shift fast Ethernet 012, that is the starting that from fast Ethernet 015. So 12, 13, 14 and 15. I want to shift 4 ports to a separate VLAN. So I have selected 4 ports. So you can watch out the symbol switch config if range. So I have selected. So you can watch out previously when I was selecting a particular interface, you can watch out the command switch config if. So that time I have selected a single interface, but now I have selected 4 interface, or if you wish you can select all 10 or 24 interface. So when you are going to select more than one interface at a time and that you want to work with, for that this particular command will be used. Interface range, then the starting interface dash followed by the ending interface. So you can see the symbol has been changed, switch config if range. So now I will run the command switch port mode access. So same command, switch port access. So now I am shifting. So I am shifting. So this range of interface to VLAN 100. So I have done the process successfully. So successfully all those 4 VLAN are shifted to a separate VLAN, that is student VLAN. We will watch the status of VLAN later. So let me shift another 5 ports to VLAN teacher. So let me move out from this port. Now I am in config mode. You can watch out by the exit command I have moved from that interface ranges to config mode. So now I will write the range command again to select a category of VLAN. So now I will select range starting from 016 to 016 to so int interface range. So the range that I am going to select, that will start from 016 to 020. So already I have assigned 011 to 015 to those 5 ports I have assigned under the VLAN student, and now this 5 VLAN starting from the range 016 to 020, I have selected this 5 VLAN. Now I will run the command, that is switch port mode access followed by the this command switch port access under the VLAN 200. So now I have successfully assigned those 5 port under the VLAN 200, that is teacher. Name of that particular VLAN is teacher. Let us check the status of the VLAN. Let me move out from the interface by the exit command. Now I am in configuration mode. Let me move out from the configuration mode by the exit command. Now I am in just enable mode. I will check the status by writing the command show VLAN. So let us observe the status. You can see over here. See, under the default VLAN you can watch out 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and after that 21 22 23 and 24. You can see in between 10 ports have been removed from the default category VLAN. Why? Because those 10 ports have been assigned separately in 2 VLAN. So you can watch out 100 student active. So under the student VLAN I have assigned 5 ports starting from 11 to 15, 11 12 13 14 and 15, and under the teacher I have assigned another 5 ports 16 17 18 19 and 20. So it is very clear I have assigned 3 separate VLAN in the switch. So as I did the same over this particular switch, so let us connect the computers among these ports. Okay, so I will connect some computers. Let me take some more computers. These 4 computers are connected with the port number, that is 1, 2 and 3, 4. So let me write one thing over here. So VLAN 200 teacher. Student VLAN 100. So let me write here one thing, name of the VLAN, that will let us to understand clearly. STUDENT, student. So this is a student VLAN. So this is teacher VLAN, and this is the default VLAN. So here this is the default. So this is the default VLAN. So these 4 ports are connected starting from. So we can write another thing over here. So let us write the port number FA01. so this is the port number. So ATO and FA. So okay, so I'm writing it over here because that will let us understand clearly. FA03. So and FA uh, 04. So you can see over here these 2 ports are connected with these 2 computers. These 2 ports are connected to this computer 01, 02, 03, 04 and FA 05. FA 05 2 FA 024. So we can see, so under the VLAN 1, that is the default VLAN, we can watch out over here port number 05 to port number 24. So that many numbers of port are under the default VLAN, because in this particular switch we just have assigned 4 computers to this 2 particular VLAN student and teacher. So okay, so now in this computer, so start in this switch we have starting from the VLAN 1 to VLAN 10. So this 10 computers are under the default VLAN, and another 4 computers starting from 021 to 024. so we can see over here 024. so this many numbers of ports are assigned under default one by default, because we don't have changes this particular port. This number of ports we have not changes, but under the VLAN 100 we have assigned VLAN 11 to VLAN 15. so port number 011 to port number 015. so those 5 ports are assigned under the VLAN 100, and another 5 ports starting from 16 to 20. so fast Ethernet 16, port number 16 to port number 20. so those were assigned under the VLAN 200 named teacher. so let me connect the computers. Now I will connect computers over here. so we have taken some computers. Okay, so now I will connect 2 computers under the VLAN student and another 2 computers under the VLAN teacher. so for doing that I will take the straight cable, and one port I will connect with the LAN port of the PC12. Another port I will connect to the switch, but we know that as I have already assigned the port number 11 to port number 15, these 5 ports are under the VLAN student. so any of those 5 ports will be used to connect this particular cable. Let me maintain the serial, so I will use this particular port, fast Ethernet 011. so I have connected this particular computer to fast Ethernet 011 because that belongs to VLAN 100. I want to connect these 2 computers under VLAN 100. that is why I have connected this port with the fast Ethernet 011. so let me take another port. Let me connect with the LAN port or NIC card. Another end I will connect to this fast Ethernet 012. watch out, you can see that the VLAN. so fast 10 computers fast 10 ports of the switch are assigned under the VLAN, that is default VLAN 1, and next 5 ports, that is 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 are assigned under VLAN 100, and rest 5, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 are assigned under VLAN 200, and the rest 4, 21, 22, 23, 24, those 4 ports are under the default VLAN. so I will connect these 2 computers with the VLAN 200. so starting from 16, we know port number 16 to port number 20 are assigned under VLAN 100. so to connect these 2 computers under the VLAN 200, that is VLAN teacher, I have to connect these 2 computers under the port starting from fast Ethernet 16 to fast Ethernet 20. so I'll connect here, and here 16 has been occupied, now 17. so okay, let us check the connectivity now. so we are not going to send packets successfully between separate VLANs. let me try. So, oh sorry, first I have to assign the IP address in these 4 computers, because these 4 computers are connected later. I have not assigned the IP address in these 4 computers. Let me assign the IP address. Let me copy the network from here, because I will connect all 16 computers in a single network. The address of the network that I have been using over here is 200.10.10. Let me change the address of the host. Okay. So okay, I have successfully assigned the IP address for all computers. So now I will send packet between 2 different VLAN. In spite of that, all the computers are connected in same network. I will not able to send packet between different VLAN. We can watch out. I am trying to send packet from the computer that is PC14, which belong to the teacher VLAN, to the student, to the computer which is connected to student VLAN, and that will never going to be possible. Okay, but we can send packet within this VLAN successfully. You can watch out that we can send packets among same VLAN, but not between separate VLAN. So now observe one thing closely, that as before we were sending packet, all the computers are connected in same network physically. All the computers are connected because we have connected 2 switches under the same network using these straight copper wires, and I can send packet from any computers belonging to the default VLAN over here to other 4 computers, any of these 4 computers belonging to VLAN 1 of this particular setup successfully. Watch out. But if I try to send packet from VLAN, any computers from VLAN 100 of this particular setup to VLAN 100 of this particular setup, that will not going to possible. Just observe. In progress and failed. Let me repeat the process. So I will try to send a packet from a computer belonging in this setup under VLAN 200 to a computer of this setup under the VLAN 200. In progress and failed. But successfully we were sending packet under the default VLAN. See, default VLAN 1 and default VLAN 2 among 2 separate setup. That is that we are doing this thing quite successfully. But why we can't? Why we are not able to send packet among the VLAN 100 and VLAN 200 of this separate setup? Let us understand one thing. I have connected this particular cross wire to the port number 24. Remember, we have connected this particular cross cable into the port 24. So this particular cable are connected in port number 24 in both the cases. In this particular switch also I have connected, I have used the port number 24 to connect this cable, that is cross cable, to connect both the switch. And the problem is that this particular port, that is if first Ethernet 024, that port belonging to the default VLAN. Watch out over here, closely watch. The first Ethernet port 024 belongs under the default VLAN 1. Watch here at this particular switch. At the bottom in the list you can watch out fast Ethernet 024. That particular port belongs under the VLAN 1, that is default VLAN, and other ports where this computer is connected, all these ports are under the VLAN 1. That is why it was possible to send packet from VLAN 1 of this particular setup to VLAN 1 of this particular setup, but we can't send packet in other VLAN among two separate switches. To do that, let me do one thing. So again I will go to the config mode. I will configure this switch. Just observe, watch closely. Enable config terminal. So again I have entered the configure mode. Interface. Okay, which interface? So I have selected the port number 24 which I have used to connect these two separate switches. So that particular port I will change. Switch port mode access. So I am changing that particular port. So I am shifting that port to a separate VLAN. Watch out. Switch port access VLAN. So watch out closely. Previously that particular port 024 was under the default VLAN. Now I am shifting that port from default VLAN to the VLAN that is 100, and the VLAN name is student. Yes, you can see the color turns to orange because again re-registration of the MAC address is going on for the corresponding port. So this will take 50 seconds to complete the process. Okay, fine. Exit. One thing it is I will, okay, fine, I'll repeat the process for this switch as well. So let me open this particular interface from the laptop. Okay, enable config terminal. I will select interface 024. Now I will shift port. So, okay, you can see again the port color has been changed to orange because again it will take 50 seconds for the re-registration of MAC addresses because I have shifted. Okay, watch out one thing. So VLAN, watch out. So after where is the port number 24? The fast Ethernet 024 has been moved from the default VLAN to VLAN 100. Okay, and here also watch out for this switch. So VLAN, you can watch out the port number. Watch. So port fast Ethernet 024 has been shifted to student VLAN. It is no longer existing. It is no longer existing in the default VLAN. Okay, now we can send packets successfully from this two computers which are connected under VLAN 1 of this particular setup to these two computers which are under the VLAN 100. You can see of this particular setup. See, successful. We can successfully send packets here to here, because now this particular these two port FA24 of these two switches are under VLAN 100. Now one thing observe that now if I try, I can't send packet from these four computers to the setup over here in progress and failed. Watch out. Now I can't send packets among these 8 computers because previously these two ports were belonging to the default VLAN, but now these two particular ports are under the VLAN 100. That is why it is possible now to send packet among two separate setup of same VLAN, because this particular two ports are under same VLAN. The communication under these two ports has been possible because those two ports belong to the same VLAN where other 4 computers are connected with. Okay, but now one thing is clear, that if I now go and change and shift these two port under the VLAN 200, that time again we will be able to send packet under these two separate setup under these 4 computers which are connected in VLAN 200 and VLAN 200, but that time again we will be not able to send packet under other VLAN. So if there is possibility to send packet within same VLAN in spite of that connected in separate switch, so we can do one thing. So we can categorize this two particular port under the friend class. So if we let these two port, that is fast Ethernet 024, under the member of all VLANs, that time it will be possible to send packets within the VLAN of separate setup. So to do that, let us do one thing. Okay, move on to terminal. So configure terminal. Now interface, first interface 024. So I have selected. So I have selected the port. Now I will do one thing. I will make this particular port as a friend of all VLANs. The number of VLAN that I am going to create in a switch, this particular port will be friend of all VLANs. So if these two port will be the friends of all VLAN, that time they will be able to communicate, because a friend can understand the packet of all separate VLANs. So I will run the command and I will make this port, I will assign this particular port under the friend member class. So to do that, the command that I need to run, switch port mode access followed by switch port access mode trunk. So remember, switch port mode access, that will be followed by switch port mode trunk. So this particular command will actually assign this port under the membership of all VLAN that I have created. So you just ignore this 5 lines. So switch port mode access, that command will be followed by switch port mode trunk. So switch port mode trunk will let the port number first Ethernet 024 be a member of all VLANs. So let us do this. Okay, we have done that successfully. Exit. Let me exit from the particular port. Now let me exit from the config mode. And now one thing, it is very important thing that you need to do. Whatever configuration we have done, those all configuration has been saved to the temporary memory of the switch. So if we are going to switch off the power, that time all data which I have written will just removed from the temporary memory. So later when again I will switch on the power of this particular switch, so configuration will be set to default, because all these configuration data are saved in temporary mode, not in permanent memory. So for saving this all information permanently in the permanent memory of the switch, we have to write the command write. So remember, very important command. So you have to use this particular command when the switch is just on active mode. So remember the symbol switch followed by hash. So when we are just in active mode, that time use this particular command writ. So this command will save all the temporary configuration data to the permanent memory of the switch. So now you can check out building configuration now. Okay, so now if you just power off the switch and later on if you switch on the power, nothing will be removed, everything will be saved in the permanent memory of the switch. Okay, let us repeat the process here. In this switch I will do the same configuration. Open the terminal. Okay, now configure terminal, interface, fast Ethernet 024. I have selected this particular port. Now I am going to run the command, that is switch port access followed by switch port mode trunk. So ignore this 3 line. The command that will be used, switch port mode access followed by switch port mode trunk. So now using this trunk command, I have assigned this port under the friend class member. So now this particular port is friend of all VLAN. So traffic that will come from any VLAN which I have created, so that will be understood by this particular port. So now let us check. So let us check the status of the VLAN. So VLAN, so observe So previously the port number 24 was in VLAN 100, so now it has been removed from here. You can check out that port. You will not able to find in any of these 3 VLAN. Port number fast Ethernet 024 is missing from this 3 VLAN because that port is now member of this 3 VLAN. So that port can understand the traffic which will pass by any of these 3 VLAN. So that is why, so you can't view that port in any of these 3 VLAN separately. Okay, now I will save the settings by the right command. Okay, let me watch out over here the status of VLAN. Status of VLAN, you can see the port 24 is no longer exist over these 3 separate VLAN that I have created. You can't see that particular port 24. So because that is the member of all VLAN, that is why that is not assigned to any individual port over here. Okay, now let me send packets from the VLAN, default VLAN here to here. Successful. Okay, now try to send packet from VLAN 100, one computer which is connected under VLAN 100 of this setup, to a computer under VLAN 100 of different setup. Successful. You can check out successfully. You can send packets between same VLAN under different setup. Let me try to send a packet from VLAN 200 of this setup to VLAN 200 of this setup. Successful. Let me repeat the process. Try to send packet from computer number 15 of this setup under VLAN 200 to a computer that is PC2 of this setup under VLAN 200. Successful. So but we can't send packet among different VLAN. So between different VLAN we are not going to send packet. That is not going to possible to send packet under different VLAN. So in spite of that, all the computers are connected in same network. So I think after this class it is quite clear to you students that the concept of VLAN, why do we use VLAN, how to configure VLAN setup, how to create a VLAN, and how to use the range command to assign number of ports together to a specific VLAN, and how to use the trunk command, what is the importance of trunk command to configure VLAN setup. So okay, let us end this lecture.